And then I'll start us off. Oh, I do need an email. I'll pull that up real quick. Got a bunch of them. I don't know which one to use. I know which one to use. I
wonder what they were about.
I'll do this one. It's a good one. It's about the Door Authority. That's a pretty fun one.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Uh-oh is right. Okay, here we go, folks. This is it. Thanks for tuning in, live chat room. I'm now going to ignore you. Not really. I'll check in with you once in a while, but
I'll ignore you.
We try not to let you distract us too much while we're playing. A couple of new people in here. Hi to you, and go check out the wiki and all that stuff. You're trying to get kind of cut up on where we're at and what we're doing. All at therewillbedungeons.com. And that's it. Let's start it. It begins in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to There Will Be Dungeons, episode 26, or session, whatever you want to call it. This is the 26th time we've sat down for 3 hours or so and recorded and broadcast ourselves playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition in our own custom campaign. Welcome, one and all, newcomers, oldcomers, and midcomers. I'm going to stop saying comers before I get in trouble. Of course, it's me and Bo and John and Kyle and Kristen, and we're here to do it
Cucumbers.
Again. Cucumbers, thank you. Cumberbatch, nailed it. Hey, I'm going to read an email before we get going. We get emails for the show over at the website, therewillbedungeons.com. You're encouraged to go there all as much as you'd like and click that link and send us your messages. Like this one from Daniel, who says, There will be dungeons and character alignments. Hello. In the Door Authority episode, the characters participated in some extensive torture. Maybe I'm missing something, but are the heroes turning evil? It seems that they are way overly brutal. Can you explain further? Thanks for the entertainment. I'm looking forward to the upcoming story. Well, thanks, Daniel. Any thoughts on? To me, if I'm to give my own little short answer was, we had just been through a hellhole, literally. And things were getting real rough, and by the end of that thing, we were like, gosh, dang it, you freaking dwarves, and we had it. And so kind of gloves were off kind of moment is what that felt like to me, which may be, contrary to some of our alignments or some of our other, the ways we would act in normal situations. But I think after being in there for so long, it was a little bit of a, like, not you again, you little bastard kind of moment. Bo, any thoughts on where you put us and why we were there?
It was not wrong. Characters in Dungeons and Dragons are somewhat not limited in what they can do, but you've imagined a character. So you do live according to the precepts of your alignment, and that alignment can't change. You can't be a lawful good person and then go around and kill people randomly for no reason. You are chaotic evil if you do this. You are not embodying the spirit of your character. Some people are role characters that are like Federation officers who will never engage in revenge, even if they're personally, the people playing them feel that way. So he's not wrong. Something for you guys to be mindful of, that, there is an audience out there and you are held to account for your actions. That being said, I enjoyed the torture very much. So, you guys it's your story. You guys are free to do what you'd like to do.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the fun of playing the game, is that things will come out of you as players that you didn't expect or know were there.
Yeah. A little like, never mind, I'm not going there. Hey, thanks for being here and listening, everybody. We're going to get started. And thanks for emails. Again, therewillbedungeons.com is where you want to go. I think that's all the preparation we have. That is, except for what Kristen has brought. Once again, in her recap of last week. Kristen, take it away.
The Geared Up Getaway. After a myriad of mathematical musings, it was determined that Nash indeed could fly the foursome to freedom by growing his gams. Transforming into a dragon, the remainder climbed atop their scaled steed and took hold as the ascertained ascent began. After some frantic flapping, they finally touched the top, startling the dwarves that had left them to die. Scared of seeing a scaled serpent, the mini-miners moved out a Gatling gun and took aim at the group. Vorel was first to action, jumping off the back of Nash, dragging Hope with him, the two tied together. Vorel beelined for the beard, incensed at being left in a pit. Hope cut the cord and crawled for cover, where she began docking the dwarvish dirtbags. Flying for the front, Stanley immediately set to cinder the stand holding the garish gun, and then parlayed his searing sword to ransack the rambunctious rabble. Nash exhaled acidic fire, melting men. Unfortunately, a few well-sought shots from the dwarves rang true, and the fiery fiend fell, transforming back into a man that then played dead. Vorel, deeming that his dear was deceased, began dragging Oilbeard to the pit to enact justice. Hope followed, demanding her own reckless redress through torture and seeking to send a soul to Kotobel Praith. After reaming remaining dwarves with his blazing blade, Stanley and Nash caught up to a sickening scene. Nash watched in surprise while Stanley joined, healing to hurt. After dispatching the dwarf down the deep dent, Avex Vorel questioned Hope's motives. Settling the simple spat with an agree to disagree, sounds were heard, revealing a room with none other than Bok, the jeweler, and the jeweler's orcish friend. Now rejoin our heroes as they are reunited with a dear friend and prepare to face off against the might of Slavetown.
Oh, man. You got like a alliteration book just laying there you can just refer to and get all your S's in a row. It's amazing. Well done. Awesome stuff. Bo Schwartz, the key to the car is yours. Take us somewhere.
Let's bring up the music.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. I gotta turn this part on. There you go. All
Love
right.
that part of the show.
Take it away.
Okay, so you guys have traveled down a hallway off to the main side of the large room, the mine entrance, which contains piles of different minerals that have been set aside for, future shipments potentially. And this side chamber you traveled down, you found a room that turned out to be some sort of a jail. And in the jail, you saw several empty cells, but upon opening the door, a cell to the back, you noticed it was in one cell, Bok, the jeweler, and Trigger, which is the jeweler's sort of right-hand man that you've met before. And the jeweler looks up at you, Vorel. You having, I believe you forced open the door and with a hammer, and you'd broken through the door and then locked it from the other side, and so you're first through the door, and he looks up at you and says, "Well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes?"
How did you get here?
There's a lot of story that we have to get caught up on, I suppose, but I'm glad we found you, and I'm glad you're here to rescue us. And Bok immediately, and he jumps up onto the jail bars, and he's got his legs and feet on there, and he's like, and he's shaking it excitingly. And then the jeweler looks at you and he says, "Well, if you let me out, maybe we can fill each other in."
All right, I will go about the cages, knocking them open.
Okay. So they're all in one cage together, and it is locked.
Is the rest of the party here?
Yeah, they followed along behind you.
Yeah, we're all there.
I propose that our opponents strip before we kill them.
What now?
I'm sorry. Who are you talking about?
The people we've defeated. Their pockets full of goods for opening such doors. This has become rather foolish.
Oh, the dwarves?
The dwarves?
I already checked the pockets. I didn't find a key, and we've already dumped them over the side.
I'm aware, and he fell to a deserved demise. But when we assault Slavetown, I now suggest that they all strip, and we loot their pockets ahead of time, so I may not deal with such ridiculous doors in the future and chests.
I'll admit we've been a little gung-ho on eliminating people in recoverable ways when we need keys off of them.
And the jeweler speaks up. He says, "Hey, now, before you get too confusing with yourselves there was a room on the way in that had a sort of plexiglass front. It's a document office. I bet you'll find a set of keys in a drawer in there. Why don't you send someone to go take a look?"
Sure, why doesn't somebody go grab that? Take a look. Besides, Bertrand will give us a good little chance to talk before we decide what we're going to do with you. I have to say, I'm a little disappointed to find you locked up here.
You're a little disappointed to find me locked up here. Well, it's on account of you that I am here.
Oh,
Your little friend Bok Bok, he said you were good folk, and we came to get you, and we were welcomed not by friendlies, but by them nasty dwarves.
Were they
Well-
not inspired by our heroics to save their mine?
Well, as far as they were concerned, you were attempting to take over the mine with some sort of army of the undead, as they put it. So they said, they didn't explain too much to us. They told me that, and then they threw us in here without much more of an explanation.
That is
Now-
false.
I have my questions for you guys too. And it just so happens I heard quite a racket out there. Sounded like some kind of a demon was outside yelling. So
Yes.
I assume whatever demon's out there, you guys took care of it because I don't hear it yelling anymore. But that was an ungodly sound. What was that?
Oh, that was just Nash.
Oh, was that me? Was that? Oh, sorry. It was a dragon thing. Dragon problem. First world dragon problems. It's fine now. You're under no.
There's a dragon.
Well,
He's
there.
been practicing dragon sounds.
Yeah, that's all.
A lot has happened.
The other thing I heard too is there was somebody yelling out there. He yelled the most god awful things that I've ever heard. Like I swear quite a bit, and when I'm feeling really, on my high horse there, I'll let drop a few things. But whoever was doing that yelling out there, good Lord, Jesus Chrome, the things he was saying, they were awful.
Well,
I never want to hear stuff like that again. That was terrible.
he was of
Who was that yelling?
He was of a poor character. He was the dwarf that was the cause of a lot of our ire over the last who knows how long. And on his way out of this mortal coil, he decided to rip off a litany of hideous things. And none of us were
You're talking
impressed.
about Scrolly.
Yeah, the little
Yeah.
bastard. That's the
Scrolly,
guy.
Oh, that makes sense. He's a little runt.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well,
Of his litter, the 12 oil-beard sons, he's the smallest, so he has the biggest mouth.
well, now he's the whitest because we've thrown him off the edge, and he's a big splat of Scrolly. Scrolly the Splatter is what we call him now.
So you killed all the dwarves out there. That's fantastic. Excellent.
Well, most of them.
Now, is anyone going to get the key so I can get out of here?
I'll start backing out and go get the key.
All right.
I am in a huff. Much offended that they would suggest I was responsible for this tainted witchcraft.
Well, they're dwarves. Dwarves, they're not as smart people. You can't hold it against their lack of intelligence against them.
I mean, they have gotten the story wrong many times. When we first got here, we came here to help for one very specific purpose, and then next thing you know, they said we were there to stop the slaves, and it's been a mess. Those dwarves don't seem to have the story straight ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had to guess, they probably were being cowardly. And they didn't want to help you after sending you down.
Well, that's about the long and the short of it.
They seemed a little racist to me. One look at a lizard folk, and you'd swear they'd seen the devil himself.
What sort of machinations will the one on the motorcycle come up with in his ride? By the time he arrives in town, it may be an entire army of dragons propelled by foul witch, and I march off in the corner.
Oh, are you saying you let one get away?
Yeah, there was one that got away. Now,
Well,
might be okay. He only saw a dragon before he took off, and there's no dragons to be found. But
sorry, I thought you said he was practicing his dragon forms. No,
No,
was
just
a
noises.
dragon?
Just sounds. That's all. Just making noise.
No, I'm talking to Stanley over here. I don't necessarily trust everything that comes out of your mouth, Nash. I want to hear Stanley. I think you think he let something slip. He was trying not to.
Yeah, we came up on the back of a dragon.
It was
I'm
glorious.
supposed to believe that.
Well, you the one who suggested you just heard a demon. Is a dragon that much harder to believe?
The jeweler turns to Bok Bok and he says, "You told me these are good people, but I can't help but thinking that they're yanking my chain." And Bok Bok turns to him and goes, and in Goblin, you understand him to saying, "No, Bertrand, these are good people." That's what he's saying in Goblin. He's like, "Look, I've had spent some considerable time with your friend here, Bok Bok, and I know a bit of Goblin. I'm a well-traveled person, so I know a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And, the things that he's told me about you and about your adventures since you met him don't really match up with the people that I've met. I mean, the first time I met this warty one over here, this human scab of a human, he tried to fight me. For no reason, unprovoked.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
And I'm not sure which one of you it is, but one of you tried to set my establishment on fire. I know that much. And I'm pretty sure I have a good idea who might have set Slave Town ablaze, but, we can just let that one go."
Well, hey, Bertrand, while we're throwing stones, don't forget, even before I get you out of this cage, you owe me your life. So let's maybe roll back the accusations just a tad.
Well, that's true. That's true. You did help me out of a tight pickle with the Lactid cartel in my establishment. That I don't forget, and I'm very grateful for. And it sort of corroborates Bok Bok's passionate plea that this majestic lizard over here is the paradigm of greatness. But that friend of yours, she's gone to get the key?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Well, she didn't help during all that what's going on. And I heard from a person, from another through the grapevine, if you will, and it's an old expression, you might not understand it. But I heard around the mill that she's boinking the cell of a stump.
Well,
what?
He's a spirited boinker.
She's boinking the bad guys.
you're the one who wanted us to get in good with Celavis so that we could betray him.
Yeah, it's a part of subterfuge.
To us.
I think that happened before any of what I discussed. Anyway, all I'm saying is I'm trying real hard here to have a reason to trust you guys, especially because Bok Bok, he's done a lot of good things for me in the past couple weeks. This is as stand-up goblin as I've ever met.
We could just leave you in the damn cage. It is us with the key,
You are a man in the cage. You would be the easiest thing I've had to kill today. Your reason for trusting me is that you are still currently alive.
There you go. The only way you can solve a problem is by killing a thing. You think I'm threatened by someone? You think I've been around this long beyond the dead fingers? Guy shaking my boots, someone says, "Oh, I'm going to kill you." Come on now. We have bigger things to work on here. Don't be so small-minded. Thought you were smarter than that.
We'll just leave you here. I don't have to kill you. We'll just leave you here.
Jeweler, I'm afraid as I must admit it, companions are accidental heroes.
Oh, accidental heroes. What does that mean?
We have done much good. And despite the threats of a man in the cage, I am moved by Bok Bok's sentiments. And I do plan to be the Lizard King he sees me to be.
Well, he speaks very highly of you. You have a loyal, what do they call them? A loyal, not nationalist. What's the name? You have a loyal
subject.
I can't think of the word, but you know what I'm saying. You got a loyal dude. A loyal man.
A loyal subject.
Subject. Thank you, Nash. A loyal subject.
You're welcome.
In this one here. He believes in you.
I'm going to make him Lord of the Goblin Tribes.
Well, there you go.
Does he know this?
Yes, we've discussed this plan.
Yeah, but he kind of just spends a lot of time humping stuff. You sure you want him in charge of the whole Goblin clan?
He's prolific. That's why he will have many children.
There are certainly worse things goblins could be doing than that.
Yeah, but that's all he does. That's all I've seen him do. I mean, no offense, I like the little guy and I'm glad he's here, but all I've ever seen him do is jack it.
You jacking it right now? I have to know.
He's
Well,
not jacking it.
what kind of...
By the way, during all this, Hope, you found the key and returned very quickly. The key just opened up a drawer in the room. It's there. You grab
Okay.
it. And
But-
you enter into the jacking it conversation with the key in hand.
If our threats are over, I must know. Were we at least successful in burning down Slave Town?
Well, you were partially successful. About half of it's destroyed.
Start.
What? Pardon me?
It's a start.
It's a start. Well, a lot's happened in 2 weeks. I really got to catch you guys up. But
2
really-
weeks. The door did not lie.
I mean, it's been about 2 weeks, so a lot's kind of transpired. Slave Town's all but abandoned at this point. But yeah, we had to get out of there because trouble's coming.
What
So,
kind of?
well, I think I told you a little bit about the Lactid cartel. Let me out and I'll tell you more.
Let me ask you one other question, Bertrand. Believe you and I had a deal as to you getting Talia out from under Mr. Stump. How has that gone?
Well, they've taken all the slaves out to the salivating fields. They're not in Slave Town anymore, so my access to them is no longer there.
So,
Because, a Cyclops ran through town, and the town got set on fire. Like, a lot of stuff has changed.
Twice or just the one time?
Oh, he...
You referring to the Cyclops?
Yeah,
Yes.
this is a good point Vorel's
just,
making.
Just the one time. He hasn't.
Ah.
We haven't seen
Thumbs up
hide
to
nor
Nash.
hair of him.
Yeah, good. Whew.
He hasn't come back since that time. But then the town got set on fire, and everyone panicked and decided to abandon. I don't know why. There was the Tatoya host, that Athanalia guy, the magistrate.
yeah.
He's clearly spooked. The last time I saw him, he looked spooked. Like something, I don't know, something was preoccupying him, and they all left. I don't know why.
Do you know where they went?
My money's on the salivating fields. That's the seat of resources that isn't this mine here. There's a grotto in there. It's got food. It's got shelter. It's got plant life. There's this grotto. It's a stronghold. So they probably went and fortified themselves up in there.
Is the can I have a small question? And Nash raises his good hand, his hand that isn't all
All right.
pustulely. Did they name it the Salivating Fields to throw people away, throw them off the trail? Like they didn't want them to know it was a place of plenty. So you name it something nasty and shitty like the Salivating Fields, and then nobody comes there. But really, it's where all the food is.
I don't know who named it that originally. I didn't get to Pristine until these things were already named what they were. But what I know is that there's a water source in there, and enough of a water source to create greenery. It's plant life, trees, things like that. Not a lot of it, but enough to, all the wood you see in Slave Town comes from somewhere.
You mean all the
Well-
wood we saw in Slave Town? Because it's burned now. Not that I know anything about it.
Half of it, but we've done good.
Yeah.
It was a start. Well, shall we let the jeweler out and figure out how we're going to get out of here and what our next step is going to be?
Should
I'll
really,
hand the
really
key to
be.
Stanley.
If you let me out, I have a little surprise for you. You'll be happy.
All right, let's get him.
You open up the door, and the jeweler walks out, and he puts his hands up, and in peace. But he brushes up against you like all tough guy like chest to chest, like puffed out as he steps on out. Very alpha like, but still grateful. And Trigger comes out, and Buck comes out and runs towards Vorel, and
I'll
for a
scoop
big
him
hug.
up.
Yeah, he kind of comes to you for a big hug, and he gives you a big hug. He's like, ah,
Good
glad
job,
you've
Bok
returned.
Bok.
I saved Vorel. I save you.
Noble Bok Bok.
And the jeweler says, "This is beautiful. What a beautiful thing. But it seems even bigger troubles were coming to Slave Town. And so Bok Bok here convinced me, with he helped me out with a few things, right, Bok Bok?" And he touches his nose and looks at Bok Bok. Bok Bok helped me out with a few problems. And so in return, we repaired your vehicle. And that's what we were coming. We were just coming here to bring you your vehicle back before we headed on our way. It's got some kind of name like Flightful or something. I don't know. I couldn't understand what Bok Bok was calling it, but it's parked outside, so you guys are ready to be on your way in your vehicle. Now, I don't recommend going back to Slave Town, but that's just me.
Well, what about you? Do you have a means to get out of here if we take the vehicle?
Well, there's a few other vehicles here. We're going to take one. Me and Trigger here, and we're going to head back where we're going to go. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about here. So ever since you came into town, and I'm meaning no offense by this, but you guys have really seemed to be drinking at the teat of the principal and the Kuromukishi and the Toyota host. You win your freedom in the Rusty Cage. Congratulations. But then you seem to be their friends, and I can't tell whose side you're really on. But it seems to me you just off a dozen of their oil beard slavers. Whose side are you on?
We're on our own.
We're on our side.
Well, that's a nice thought, but that can't be true.
What do you mean it can't be true?
The four of you on your own side. No allies.
Oh, you
What
think
do you-
we're
what
you
do you-
think we're doing this with help, do you?
Well, the reason I'm asking is I might know some people who would like people as strong as you on their side. On
Are
the
you
side
talking
of...
about the Liberators?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Liberators. Goddamn right.
Oh, well, as it just so happens, I do believe that our goals may align. We're not lying when we tell you we're on our side. We didn't come here for any reason greater than freeing our people and going home. Become considerably more complicated than that. And if it seems like we're helping the principal, I can assure you it's been merely coincidental up to this point. We have no interest in them or their goals, but occasionally their goals and ours align, especially when you are as grossly outnumbered as we were. Now, our goal remains freeing our people, but we may have extended it a bit, and we may have our eyes set on maybe taking it to the principal a little more directly.
So, what is that? Do you want them gone or not?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. I'm just not sure 100% I can trust you. You over there with the horns.
I'll look at him. Stare at him.
What do you want? Why are you sleeping with that disgusting owner of the Celovus? Really bugs me.
Why does it matter to you?
Because he's a slimy
Jealous?
snake and I hate that guy.
Well,
It makes it hard for me to trust you.
that's okay. It's a tough world. You shouldn't trust everyone.
Why does it matter who she knocks boots with?
Because I don't want to reveal the location of Liberator's camp to you and then have you turn it over to them. But we need all the help we can get. I need to know I can trust you guys before I do that.
How do we know we can trust you?
Well, I brought you your damn truck. We've been sitting and rotting here on your account for a week and a half.
And you owe me your life twice over. I would think we are still quite lopsided in our favor.
Hmm. Listen, did you end up finding that deed, any of you?
No, but Speckles sends her regards.
Well, that was
Wait.
going to be discussed
You
in perhaps
found
a more ginger and respectful manner, but thank you,
You found
Hope.
Catherine. You talked to Catherine. Where is she?
Bertrand, that is the thing of it.
Where
Kath
is she?
did not make it. We did find her, but she's no longer with us. She,
What happened? What happened to her?
she was killed by a man named Tylander Sullivan. The less you know about the circumstances around it.
Wait. Tylander Sullivan, stoned to death in the square of Pristine 10 or so years ago, killed Catherine Speckles. What, a week? Like how many? 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago? What are you telling me?
Well, that was just the first death.
Yeah,
I
it turns
think
out
we
he's
also
pretty difficult to die.
beat his head in.
Beat whose head in?
A Thailander. With
Well,
all,
how-
and then we disintegrated him. So he's gone now.
Tylander's been dead for 10 years. I
Bull,
don't even know who that is.
bullshit, says Nash Magard of the Solar Mines. We just saw that guy.
Look, ultimately, whether or not it was actually Tylander Sullivan, I don't know, but that is the name he used and went by. He had command of the undead, and we killed him multiple times, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same fellow. He seems to have a hard time staying dead.
And what does this have to do with Catherine?
Well, he was raising an army of the dead down below. All the slaves down in the mine there, they had all turned undead. We were able to chase him down, a few of his believers, and we found her body amongst the others. She did tell us a
what
message
purpose?
for you before she died. She wanted you to know that she loved you and said she was sorry.
I still don't understand what Catherine has to do with this ghost Thailander. How did they get mixed up? What does the deed figure into all this?
Deed
was
was
delicious?
used as part of a spell.
Gives you a really dirty look, Vorel.
Well, don't.
The deed was part of a spell.
Yes.
So this ghost Thailander finds Catherine with the deed because the ghost Thailander needs it for a spell.
It seems
then-
he was interested in bringing down the principal, that by any means necessary, going to some fairly crazy extreme lengths to do so. He was willing to kill as many people as need be. He was willing to even try to summon a demon to do the job for him.
So where's the deed?
It was destroyed.
You sure it was destroyed?
Yes.
Well, that part is good.
Why is
Very
that
quiet.
Why is that good?
Because the deed is they located another source of dragon metal, and if that were true, the principal would be sending his men here in en masse to come and collect it for his for the things that he does.
Hold on. Are you telling me that if there's any dragon metal anywhere, they'll go after it and do whatever it takes to get it?
I mean, yeah, the dragon metals. It's rumored, so I don't know, but the dragon metal is the key to the principal's an immortal, but the immortality isn't free. The immortal, the principal has machines that he uses, and that dragon metal is the most important resource that they can offer in order to advance his agendas. He needs dragon metal. It's a precious and valuable resource. Have you ever, what dragon metal is, right?
Yes, but I don't have any and I don't know anything about it.
Well, there's a deposit of it somewhere along this side of the Dead Fingers, and that deed was for a mining concern to get access to it. The information about where exactly this mine needs to be was tightly guarded, and it was written on the deed, which we had stolen to disrupt their plans. The fact that it's destroyed is good. That information will be lost.
Well, I'm sure if it exists, it's in the ground, and somebody else will have to get it out of the ground and nowhere else but the ground.
Right.
And I turn around and I kind of walk nervously the other direction.
I'll go walk up to you, Nash, and put a hand on your shoulder. Make it look like we're recovering from battle.
Bertrand, for what it is worth, I'm sorry about Catherine.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I'm going to need a few moments.
All right, we'll wait for you in the cavern outside.
Or outside, if we may. I've grown very weary of these dank surroundings.
Sure, we'll be outside.
Come, Buck. They said we could go outside finally.
All right, as you go to leave, you hear echoing throughout the room engine. And then you can't hear it, but based on the sounds you hear an engine drive in, singular vehicle, drive into that cave area where you fought the dwarves were. And then you sort of freeze up and stop. And the jeweler looks up at everyone and is like, just wants everyone to stand still. And you hear the and the engine comes to a halt. And then you just hear these very loud sounds. You hear
Stealth?
Stealth?
I would like to hide.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Roll a stealth check and hide. How are you hiding exactly?
Well, I want to look
you
down
guys
the
are
hall.
all you're in the prison room, and you can look down the hall. You don't see anything. You know the sound's distant. It's coming from the main chamber.
I'd like to hug the wall by the hall and still view down it without being seen looking into the hall.
Okay.
Hey. 14.
All right. So you clutch the wall and sort of, I imagine, kind of more on all fours. You kind of just sort of very carefully making your way down in order to see what you can see. Is that right?
Yeah.
And as you get an eyeball over the edge of a corner, as you look out towards the main room, and you see this dune buggy has just sort of driven in to the main room, and there's a man standing, a humanoid shape. You're not sure what race, about 7 feet tall, wearing this brown, what looks to be power armor. Just like all it's metal. There appears to be lights on certain parts of it. It's very dirty. There's no face. There's a visor where there's a face, and you see one singular person. You hear, and when he moves, you hear, like it's not that loud, but you hear the hydraulics of the power armor as it moves, and the person looks around and appears to be surveying the destruction in the room.
No, I'll turn back to the room. It's a metal man.
What do you mean, a metal man?
He's got smoke coming under his pits, and he moves like metal.
Is he a man inside of metal or a man made of metal?
I'm unsure.
Do you see any flesh?
No flesh. No eyes.
Just metal.
Yes.
But he's a man.
Yes.
Yes, a middleman. We understand the concept.
Could be a female.
Oh, right. Let's get our gender shit in order here, please.
Do we just hang back and hope he goes away, or do we go out there?
Yeah. Does he look armed?
Yes. Yeah, so part of what you saw, you noticed there was an assault rifle sort of strapped to his back and a revolver on the hip.
Well, I certainly don't want to be the first person to step out.
You never do. Says
But
Nash.
you're so good with people.
Well, I agree. I've been shot already once today, and I'm not eager to get shot again. Nash is barely even awake at the moment.
As you guys discussed this, the sounds continue on of the walking. You hear reep, reep, and then and it grows quiet, and then you just hear the crunching of rocks, and then it fades away.
Should I? People don't act well when they see me first, but I can go if...
Let's just wait and see what he does.
But we're in a choke. This room has no other escape, no end. He could use some sort of machination and blow us all
Hey,
away.
hold on. I'll go out there. Just give me a second. I might cast Cure Wounds on myself.
Okay, you do so.
9 hit points back to me. All right.
Maybe
and
we-
I'm going to...
Should we ask Cage Boy? What does he know? I mean, are we leaving him in there? What are we doing with him?
just stay back here for the moment. And I'm going to go out in a bit of a run with my hands up, no weapons in my hand, and look around. Can I see him?
Oh, you've unarmed yourself?
I'm not holding anything.
Okay. All right. You actually walk out into the room and you see the dune buggy, and you don't see any humanoid. But what you do notice is a very distinct set of footsteps deep into the dirt of the this room, leading from the dune buggy and wandering around a little bit, but eventually leading to the pit, the elevator shaft that you guys entered into, and they seem to end there.
Oh, like it jumped down into the pit.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna turn around and look back at my friends. I think he went down into the pit. I think if we make a break for it, we might be able to get out of here. It took a long time to get up and down that pit.
Where should we meet up?
Get over to the Fate 4 and get going.
All right.
Wait a minute. If the keys are still in there, we could have two vehicles. I'm just saying. If we're leaving him here anyway.
Well, we'll just take the keys so he can't chase us in a car.
Ah, now that's a good idea. I
Okay,
like it.
Let's go.
Okay.
I'm gonna run. I'm gonna take the keys out of his car and pocket them as I go by.
Okay. So you look into the dune buggy. You do see a set of keys in there. You gonna steal them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You steal them. You have a set of dune buggy keys.
John, you have them. John, but Stanley has the keys, right? Just in case. I just mean, if someone has to take a fall, just Stanley has them.
I'm adding them. I want these keys. All right. We're gonna keep running to the Fate 4, right?
Yep. So you guys all in a single file sort of run out towards the entrance. Bertrand and Trigger are behind, as well as Bok keeping up with Vorel. You exit and you back out into the sunny, the warm, sunny air of the wasteland. It's very hot today, somewhat humid as well, which is nice. And you see the Fate 4, a little worse for wear, but sitting there looking all beautiful. Skull shining in the sun.
I say, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Never thought I'd be so happy to see so much sunshine again.
Well, it's majestic. Come on, let's get in the vehicle and get going. Bertrand, Trigger, I think it would be best if you traveled with us, at least for the moment.
Bertrand looks around and says, yeah, okay, we're with you. Come on, Trigger. And Trigger joins you guys in the vehicle. So you guys all load up into the vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hope you sort of get into the pilot's seat. Everything's as you left it, except for, the damage that was on the vehicle all seems to be repaired. You flood it with some gas, turn the engine over. It starts to light up immediately.
I would like to be there's a back door to it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to be looking out the back window to see if Metal Man comes back out while we drive off.
You don't see anything out the back. And you start to take off, but where are we going?
Bertrand, where are we going?
Well, we got a few options. I guess I didn't completely tell you everything about what's going on with Slavetown yet, but they've abandoned Slavetown, essentially. It's a ghost town. It was a ghost town. The reason we left was the Lactid cartel. I caught wind that they were sending in a specialist. So I think I told you. I can't remember, excuse me, if I told you or not, but the Lactid cartel, they want to take over the Oilbeards cartel over here. They're trying to make moves to do so. And they're looking at this as an opportunity, and they've sent one of their own in. And it's very dangerous in Slavetown. Now, when I say I sent one of their own in, I don't mean men. I mean one of the actual Lactids. You guys don't know what the
Lactid?
It's a man, but also it's an insect. It's an insect man.
Well, that sounds
suppose they wear
great.
a bunch of metal armor, do they?
No, that's not their style at all. See, I'm from Principal City, and he's like, I'm about to tell you a little tale. You guys tuck in a little bit.
Where are we driving to while you tell this tale?
Should we go to the Liberators' encampment? Are you here to fight on our side? Otherwise, we can, that's where I want to go. That's where I'm headed.
Then that's where we should go. Our interests are to stop the principal.
All right. So if you guys I don't know if you guys are in Roll20 or not, but in the map, I have marked the location of the Liberators' encampment.
I am. Although.
So south we go.
Yeah, it says Liberators Ho.
That one they share?
It's where they'll be located.
No, it's like Liberators Ho. Like it's where it is.
Oh, there it
Liberators
is.
Ho.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just to the south, up in the mountains. I've also pointed out where the salivating fields are on the map. So we're going to actually start using this map. So let's take a little side break. Not side break, but basically what we're going to do is when you drive, remember, I believe a hex, how much do we settle on? Is 120 miles?
Yeah, I think that's what
miles.
you said.
We might have dropped it to 60 miles or 120. I can't remember, but we'll just say it's 120. But each time you move, or no, we said 60 miles because it's an hour to traverse one square. It's 60 miles an hour, even though it says 120 on the map. Now, what we're going to do is when you travel overland, you're going to roll a dice for every hex you go through. Someone's going to roll a d12. Now, if you roll a d11, you'll get a moderately difficult encounter of some kind. And if you roll a d12, you'll get a very difficult encounter of some kind. The dangers of the wasteland and all.
Okay.
So we're not going to do it quite yet because Bertrand's going to tell a story. But just keep in mind that you're going to traverse several hexes before getting to the encampment, which something might happen.
It's like a Japanese RPG. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not
encounters and all. It's great.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. So Bertrand says, "Look, I once upon a time, as a young man, I lived in the principal city, and I got on the wrong side of some wrong people, and so I fled. and I came here to Pristine before it was Slave Town, and I decided to make a business for myself here, Slave Town. But then I think eventually the Lactids, so the people I got on the wrong side of were the Lactids, and the principal city is made up of these 3 majestic spires, and in the spires live people, millions of them, countless. But underneath the city is where the Lactids live, the bugs, the cockroaches of that society. And they're impossible to get rid of. And they live under there, and whatever is considered illegal up above, they make trade in because they can't be eliminated. And the agents of Principal City have given up trying to eliminate this criminal underworld. They just choose to live with it. And so the Lactids are always a factor. And they don't easily forgive debts and transgressions. And, you know, I got on the wrong side of them and I escaped, but they eventually found me. And now they're here to collect, and they're here to take. And they want to take this. They want to take the operations here for themselves. So they've sent one of their own. They're insects. They're giant insect men, and they're not easy to defeat. So I don't recommend going to Slave Town.
When you say they're not easy to defeat, are they covered in natural carapace-style armor, or are they... Like, what makes them so formidable?
They have strong natural armors, but they also whisper into your mind. They're I don't... They have scores of humanoids who live with them, who've had their personalities completely erased, that they're just empty thralls for the Lactids to do with what they will. They have incredible powers to just empty your mind and steal your own will from you. And that's what makes them very difficult to confront. The fact that there's one in Slave Town right now is a very dangerous thing. And that's why we decided to leave.
But there's just the one? There's not a whole hive of these creatures there? Just one?
My information tells me there's one coming. Probably with a host of its thralls.
This would have
So the men we fought in your bar were mind controlled?
So the men we fought in the bar I don't think they were mind controlled. See, the way the criminal organization works is that, you know, the Lactids are the criminal organization that controls the underworld of Principal City, but they have smaller, what we call gangs there that are not controlled but work with the larger organization, kind of like the way the Kuromokishi and the Toyota Host go. So they represent the Lactid cartel, but they were in control of their own minds. If that makes sense. I know it's very complex for you folk who live and don't have to deal with this kind of thing, live in the deserts and the wastes and in the strange ways that men organize themselves, but no, they were not thralls.
Well, they seem exceptionally deadly for sure, but I gotta tell you, perhaps the most concerning thing is I look at what you're telling me about the Lactids and the Chromakishi and the Toyota Host, and it seems like the deck is stacked very much not in our favor.
Well, that's true. We haven't nothing but a hope and a prayer. That's all we got.
And now,
unless you have some other plan, like what were you? I mean, I'm only hoping we have some way of winning this battle with these oppressors.
and here in the sun, I am prepared to tell you my plan. Free of the darkness of Kotoba Prace domain,
We'll
I have
fill you in
accepted.
on that later. Just bear with us for the moment.
I have accepted what Bok has deemed me as. My people, his people. The gnolls, the lizard folk, all of them will be affected by this war. I, Bok, and I turn to Bok and Goblin say, will declare myself Lizard King. And it's still in Goblin. I will lead these people. I will lead them against the principal who comes into their lands. This is our home.
Huzzah!
And then I stand erect and tall, slightly jostled by the car moving.
Bro, what did you say?
Yeah, we don't speak Goblin. What's the plan exactly?
I will become king of the disjointed tribes of the Wastes. You have concerns with the slaves, and I have been lost for this time. Your humans are confused, but they impact all of us. We will no longer be pushed and pulled by these men and the principal. I will gather them for us. And that is why I believe that closing the esophageal pass and your plan that you presented in the mines is folly. Because we must move an army against Principal City.
You get us that army, we'll keep it open.
That is my plan.
You have to get that army.
I will.
first.
I will.
I mean, you've certainly won over one goblin, and I don't mean to rain on your parade, but one goblin is not many goblins. What exactly do you intend to do?
For each group we meet that is unhuman, I suggest we conquer them and raise our own army to move against Principal City.
But Vorel, what's gonna happen when they don't want to join? Are you saying we take them by force? We make them do what they do not want to?
There's a law of strength in the Wastes. And if their leaders are weak enough to fall before me, I will claim their tribe.
I mean, there's no doubt we need allies in this fight. We are vastly outnumbered, if what the jeweler says is true. For Kotobel Praith to even suggest that our only hope was to close the esophageal pass, that suggests that whatever force we're up against is incredibly strong. But I don't think we can assume we're going to have it. I would say that perhaps our best bet would be pursue what we know, these artifacts that we've already thought about setting out to get, and should we come across any tribes or other folk that might be inclined to help us, Vorel, we put your plan into action and you see if you can become their king too.
This plan has one more factor to it. Upon completion of your deal, you may be enslaved. And if I alone control this army of beasts, I may be able to save you from the weir. I do not trust the deals you have made. And in the sun here, I say that aloud.
Well, I think there's probably a lot of truth in that. I'm not entirely sure I trust the deal either, but
I don't trust any of these people.
Nash doesn't trust any of it.
No.
You're
all coming around finally, coming around to my side. I like it.
Nash, I may ask much of you in this. My heart stirs when I see you in Dragon. I am moved. That is a powerful force. These beasts respect the Dragonkin. And your form may gather us a greater army than me alone.
I'm with you, man. I'll go where you go.
Kotobel Praith alluded to the fact that these other artifacts that he sent us after would be equally as powerful as what Nash has seen. If that's the case, that's a good deal of extra firepower for us to bring to bear.
Maybe, just maybe, it'll scare the hell out of them, too.
Bertrand, I imagine you have a couple of questions.
I don't know what you guys are talking about now. You made a deal with the demon?
He's more of a goat, but sure. Actually, how much does he need to know? He wants to trust us. We may have to just tell him everything. We haven't lied to you. We just haven't told you everything.
The short version is we have 1,000 days and 1,000 nights to kill the principal.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good deal. What did you get out of it? Is this what you found in the hole?
Yes.
A lot of people died to bring you to that moment. Catherine died, and she meant the world to me. Timber died, and he was all right fellow. How many other people died?
A lot.
And you were given a gift?
Yes, we were given knowledge, some power, and we were pointed towards artifacts, things that could help with our goal.
Yeah. It sounds like I'll take whatever I can get. As for you, Vorel, being a lizard king, if you can bring the force to bear, then that sounds welcome. Anything's better than the savagery that these people bring to our land.
Will the Kuromukishi continue their loyalty with this dishonorable insect folk coming to bear on their town?
Yes, I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but the Kuromukishi are bound by their code to serve the principle. It's embedded in Chromianity, the religion they follow. That the principle was the key factor that set Jesus Chrome on the Silver Road to atone for our sins. They're religious fanatics, and so they will always side with their religion.
Then they are as mind-controlled as the thralls.
In a way, you're right, yes.
Is there any weak link in the chain, the Toyota host, any of these capable of turning on the principal?
The Toyota hosts are just dogs. I don't know that they can be turned, only except with a bigger stick. I'm not sure if we're necessarily equipped to do such a thing. We'll have to look to the free races beyond the Dead Fingers, as Vorel suggests, if we're to create our own army. The only people at the Liberators' encampment right now are whoever disagrees or who has something contravening in belief from Slavetown. There's barely a fighter among them. The most that we've been able to get done is we have had raids on their transports back to town, back to principal when they leave for the principal city. We don't have enough numbers to actually overthrow, usurp the goings-ons here. Right now, it's unwinnable. Without an army, it's unwinnable. You mentioned something about blowing up the esophageal pass. If you have a means to do that, please do it. That would be a crippling blow to the whole reason they're here in the first place. But it sounds like this one here, Vorel, does not like the idea because it was proposed by your demonic friend.
I believe he has plans for this land.
I would never tell anyone to trust a demon. So you're probably right. We're probably in for a royal effing once everything is all said and done. But I don't see what other options we have aside from raising a bigger army than the principal. And the thing I caution you about, Vorel, is that what's underneath this powerful force is a dark and ancient magic. It isn't destroyed through conventional means. These are powerful foes that are buttressed not just by mere numbers of meatlings, but by but by the magics of the principal themselves. He is an immortal. How do you deign to kill an immortal?
Well, I killed Thailand.
It's a good start.
I'll say this, Vorel, if we do decide to close the esophageal pass, it's the one advantage is it allows us to build our army without fear of another army invading prematurely. It does give us a chance to build our forces without a response from Principal City.
It is a strategic pass that we will one day need to use. Many of the tribes we come across will not have encountered the principal directly. To control the pass would bring them great pride and could aid our cause. We've already set up Orp there. Who knows how many caravans he's sacked for sweetmeats.
Who's Orp?
The giant.
It's a loaded question.
Sorry, the Cyclops that attacked town. He's got a name, and you know it.
Yeah.
Yes. He's our friend.
Oh, is that right? He's your friend. Holy.
Yes.
Wow, you guys really never a dull moment. Is there
Correction.
something that's happened in the last month that isn't your response? That you aren't responsible for?
Well, we should make a correction to that. He believes very strongly in whatever size mind he has that we are his friend. Let's put it that way.
I see. Well, I mean, if you have him,
Well, I shouldn't speak for Vorel. Vorel is truly a friend of all creatures strange and low. But I think he's a bit of a goon. Not Vorel, the Cyclops.
well, can we? I mean, he'd be a powerful ally if he was on our side.
He's a little hard to control, but he certainly enjoys us and listens to us about 50% of the time.
He's slow. And I'm not sure he'll be all that trusting of us when he sees us again. We may have used him in a way for the greater good, mind you, but that put him in a position of being fooled.
What Nash is saying is we sent him to the esophageal pass under the pretense that he'd be able to eat anybody who came through there. And we haven't seen him since.
I was trying to ease him in, but yes, what he says is correct.
It's hard to trust a being whose sustenance is other men and people, right? Is that what I'm getting at here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as long as we keep him fed, then we're okay.
He likes to get high on his own supply, is what we're saying. And if he's around too many of us, he'll find us. He needs his source. He needs people. And I don't know that we want to be those people.
No, of course not. Of course not. We want to feed him other people. The people are enemies. But
You're
as long
making
as
it sound awful.
As long as we can keep him feeding on our enemies and not us, he's an ally. And I presume at which point, when that's no longer any enemies for him to eat, you guys know how to end him?
Well, we had the opportunity, and conscience got the better of a couple of us.
Okay.
We know how to search him.
I mean, he's a big, innocent boy, and he probably didn't deserve the ending that he got. Nash is being a little harsh, which is strange because he was closer to him than any of us.
Oh, well. All right. Well, that's good. That's one potential ally. I just want to know what's our plan. I don't have much waiting for us back at the Liberators camp. It's a safe haven. There's food and respite from the desert there. You're not going to find much in the way of solutions.
If this camp is undefended, driving to it could be dangerous with a metal man perhaps trailing.
Well, that metal man, he's probably You're probably right to be worried about him, but we took his keys, right? So I don't think he'll be finding us.
Well, I
Probably a bounty hunter.
Chrome
Well,
note.
there is the map.
Yes.
Everything's been marked on it.
Yeah. I hope, if you don't mind, I can take that back and show that to Bertrand and show him
Yeah.
what we're looking at.
Fiddle around and pass it back.
So
he
this is what
grabs the
we're
parchment
working
and-
with.
considers it.
The closest point that has been pointed out to us is down here by the teat. That is where we were told there were weapons that Hope could make use of. Now, we were encouraged to go after this bit here in the southwest. They told us we would find materials there called celestium, which would allow us to close the esophageal pass. We were told that that should be first, but, the teat is on the way.
Never heard of celestium. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what that is. Can tell you, you might find a friendly face or two over in the teat. See, well, you saw that woman, the woman with the red outfit, the Acromonicar legend.
My hands
she's
will
a-
grip a little tight on the steering wheel, but I'll stay quiet.
She's a great woman, that one. Anyways, she might have gotten up to a robbery or two and fled, and now she's over there in the teat. So you can talk with her. She'll probably get you set up.
That seems
get you
like
set
a
up real nice.
really good first place to go.
Can we rest our heads there? Because we've been through it, and some of us would really like to get our hit points back.
Well,
I don't know if you noticed, Nash, but you can sleep in this vehicle. You've done it before, and you can do it again.
Then good night to all of you. I'm gonna go take a nap.
all right then. Yeah, you still have 4 levels of exhaustion to work through.
Yeah, we gotta get Nash.
All right, so what's the plan here? You guys can drop me off at the Liberators encampment and then be on your way.
That sounds good. How are we looking supplies and gas-wise? Are we going to be able to acquire that at the camp?
We can load you up with with some extra food and rations that we have there. That seems all right to me.
Yeah, we had to leave quite a bit of our supplies down at the bottom of the well, so we're running a little low.
All right. Well, all right then, chaps. Sounds like we have a plan. You guys are going to drop me off at the Liberators, and then you'll be on your way to the teat. And I noticed here on your map, too, there's a little eyeball. It says Vorel's name on it. I thought Vorel didn't make any deals. Why is that marked there?
I assume that the DM made this before he knew how many people were going to take the deal.
Who's the DM?
That was said in character, out of character.
The Demon Man.
Demon.
Yeah,
Man.
I didn't know that was actually on there, Bo.
But
so.
do you know this place, Vorel? Is Rijak Val?
It does match my people's pronunciation.
It might be worth going to have a look. I don't know why it's marked on this map. Maybe the demon friend left you a little breadcrumb after all. Even though you didn't accept his deal. Just a thought, but what do I know? So at first, I didn't believe in demons or the undead until I started talking to you guys today, and for some reason, I don't know why I believe you guys. I still am skeptic, but...
Is it so
There's no-
unbelievable? A orc bathed his balls in metal in your hometown.
I mean, there's strange stuff out there. I'm just saying I've never seen it before, and I'm skeptic of it, but I know there are magics at work. And I guess I'm hearing a lot of new concepts today, and I'm a little overwhelmed. And also heavy of heart.
Oh.
This fills me with pride, and I would very much like to call us heroes, but our journey originally was to save the slaves. Have we given up on those souls?
I'm not entirely sure what we can do for them at this point. I mean, Jula, if you have any idea on what we can do to save our people, I'm certainly all ears. But
Well, there's a lot of chaos and confusion happening right now, and they're all they've brought everything they have in terms of assets and stuff they have in this area to the Salivating Fields. Slave Town is dead. It's a ghost town. So if you were looking to, I know you wanted to rescue Talia. I know she's your sweetheart, and I kind of know that pain. So maybe there's a way you can sneak in, rescue your people, and sneak out.
I vaguely remember somebody telling me they were going to do it for me.
Well, I vaguely remember someone telling me they were going to get me the deed. But no plan
Talia
survives
was
first.
payment for healing your wounds, Jula. I can put that wound right back on you if you miss it so much.
Now, let's not get carried away. Look, I just don't have the means to do it right now. Things being what they are. With everyone over at the Salivating Fields. Wasn't part of the plan.
If we were able to liberate the people who were taken from Dust Hill, do you or the Liberators have means to get them back home? Certainly the forces of Dust Hill aren't negligible, and I think we could probably get them on our side as well.
Are you asking for transport for your people back to Dust Hill once they're rescued?
Yes.
Yeah, we can send a few vehicles.
Well, that is also on the way. So, what do you all think?
Is it on the way? You want to go to? Are you proposing going to Salivating Fields first?
Yeah.
Okay. We'd have to let somebody at Liberators know. There's no telephones.
Nash is asleep.
There's no telephones, so you'd have to, if you wanted to get vehicles from the Liberators, you'd have to go and plan it stage.
Well, no, I mean we would still go to the Liberators first, but I mean where we go from the Liberators.
Oh, so you're proposing a trajectory of Liberators, Salivating Fields for the rescue, then the Teat, then perhaps Reject Val, and then then the ruins.
Yep.
But what about the spaceship for Stanley?
Look, we don't have to even bother with that.
Are you embarrassed of your family, Stanley?
They're not my family. They're a bunch of elves.
But aren't you curious to see?
No, I'm not curious to see. Do you know what elves do to me?
No.
They look at me and they call me a half-blood and a half-breed. They look at me like a lesser being. The elves haven't done a damn thing for me my entire life. Why should I do anything for them?
But wouldn't you be taking some of their power?
Maybe. They're willing to share it. They've never been interested in doing anything for me this far in life. I'm not entirely sure why they would suddenly become so amenable to my existence.
We might force something. I mean, I've no idea what those guns do.
Elves seem complex. I will not declare myself king of them.
We'll focus on you and Vorel for now. We'll see how that goes. And if the information turns out right, maybe we can go check it out. But I'm not eager to reunite with a bunch of people that would prefer my existence be ignored.
The jeweler looks around and goes, well, awkward.
Nash rolls over, snores a little, smacks his lips.
He's like, all right, well, I'm going to take my cue. Is there somewhere I can put my feet up for a little bit? This drive's going to be kind of long.
Yeah, you can go sit in that room right over there, and I point him at the bathroom.
Okay. Well done. All right. So we're at a point now, everyone, the conversation kind of ebbs out at this point. Everyone's sort of dealing with their internal frustrations and the conflict between the group. And with that, we're going to take a little 5-minute break.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll be back shortly, everybody.
BRB.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. I think. Yeah.